a dark screen. The sound of a soft piano begins, just a few lonely notes echoing. Then, a warm but serious voice speaks. It's been 35 years since a love story captured the world. A love story of chance, of charm, of two people who never belonged together, yet couldn't stay apart. But what happens? When life gives you one more chance at a fairy tale, the screen flickers with blurry flashes of the past, an elegant hand pulling back a curtain, the glow of city lights, and the sound of laughter fading into silence. Asterisk, the trailer begins with the quiet hum of Los Angeles at night. A modern city skyline fills the screen, tall towers shining against the darkness. A luxury apartment window glows in the distance. Inside, we see the silhouette of a man. His back is turned. He's older now. His hair is gray, his shoulders slightly tired, but his presence still powerful. This is Edward, the voiceover continues. Edward Lewis once had it, all the wealth, the respect, the woman who changed his life. But time has a way of slipping through even the strongest hands. We see Edward standing by the window, holding a glass of wine, looking down at the city. The camera stays faceless, just a shadow, a figure, the shape of a man lost in thought. The piano grows softer, more reflective. Cut to a crowded street, daylight. A woman walks with purpose through the busy sidewalks of Beverly Hills. Her movements are graceful but confident. A long red scarf floats behind her as she steps forward. She doesn't need an introduction. Her energy tells us who she is. This is Vivian Ward. Once a dreamer, once a believer in love's impossible magic. She built her own world. She became her own savior. Yet some memories never fade. The camera follows her steps as she passes by designer shops, flashes of fashion, and the sounds of tourists. But her face remains hidden. We see her hands brushing against store windows, her hair catching the sunlight, her scarf catching the wind. A faint sound of laughter plays her laughter, echoing from long ago. It fades quickly, replaced by the noise of traffic and footsteps. Cut back to Edward. He sits at a desk covered in papers, yet his mind is far away. He flips open an old photo album. The screen shows only glimpses, his hand touching a picture, the edge of a photograph with a woman's smile. His breath is heavy, filled with regret. The narrator whispers, "They were once strangers who found each other. They were once fire that could not be tamed. But life separated them, and the years built walls that even love could not break." The music shifts. The piano blends with soft strings. A feeling of longing grows in every note. A quick sequence begins Vivian, walking into a grand building, dressed in a flowing gown, holding her head high. Edward staring out of a car window as the rain falls against the glass. The city moving, people rushing, but both of them trapped in their own silence. Now, fate decides to cross their paths once again. The screen fades to black. Silence. Then, single sound breaks it, a limousine door opening. The music swells. Edward steps out, faceless, only a shadow. Vivian turns from across the street, her scarf catching the wind once more. The narrator's voice deepens. This is not just a reunion. This is the story of what happens after the fairy tale ends. The section closes with a powerful fade-out. The words appear in golden letters. Pretty Woman to 2025, the music softens again. Like a heartbeat, asterisk, the sound of footsteps echoes. Slow, deliberate. The city at night, the rain has just stopped, leaving the streets shining like glass. Neon lights shimmer across puddles, and the air feels heavy with secrets. The narrator's voice returns, softer this time. It's almost like a confession. Sometimes the past doesn't stay where you left it. Sometimes it finds you in the crowd. We see Edward moving through a high-end hotel lobby, his figure sharp against the golden glow of chandeliers. He nods politely to strangers, but his eyes never rest. He looks restless, like a man searching for something he can't name. Cut to Vivian walking into the same hotel, her heels clicking against marble. She's different now, strong, elegant, a woman who carries her own power. She adjusts her scarf, pauses, and for a second she feels it to the pull of a memory. The music tightens. A low string note hums beneath the silence. The camera cuts quickly, Edward staring across the lobby. Vivian pausing mid-step, the sound of breath, heavy and uncertain. They don't speak. They don't even touch. Yet the tension is electric. The narrator whispers, "Two souls, once bound by fate. Now strangers shaped by time." The screen fades into flashes of their lives apart. Edward at board meetings, plotted but alone. Vivian giving a speech at a women's foundation, her words fiery, her eyes hiding something deeper. Edward walking through an empty penthouse, his shadow stretching across cold walls. Vivian laughing with friends, but falling silent when the music stops. The strings grow louder. Pressing like a heartbeat, cut back to the hotel lobby. Edward takes a single step forward. Vivian notices her hand brushing her scarf. It's uncertain whether to move closer or walk away. The narrator's voice deepens. Can love survive the years? Or will the past remain only a memory? Suddenly, the sound of applause bursts the hotel ballroom doors open. Vivian is pulled into the crowd, flashes of cameras catching her in motion. Edward watches from a distance, his face hidden, but his longing clear. The screen cuts to black. Silence, then Anne, unexpected. Sound, laughter, Vivian's laughter, but present day. The camera shows her turning, smiling at someone out of frame. For a moment, she is free. But Edward, standing in the shadows, tightens his grip on a champagne glass until it cracks in his hand. The music explodes. Piano. Strings, a rising swell that feels like a storm breaking loose. Quick flashes, Vivian on a stage. Fire in her words. Edward pacing alone in the rain. A limousine pulling up to a curb. Vivian's hand trembling as she touches an old photograph. Edward standing in front of a closed door, unsure whether to knock. The narrator speaks with weight. This time, the fairy tale is no rescue. This time, it's a choice. The section ends with a sharp cut. Vivian walks away from the ballroom lights into the night, her scarf drifting behind her like a flame. Edward follows at a distance, but the space between them feels like an ocean. The screen goes dark again. Asterisk. The screen flickers to life with a sudden burst of Sound City traffic. Horns, voices blending into chaos. The camera moves fast, weaving through crowds, as if chasing something. A man's shadow appears on a rain-soaked street, then a woman's. Their paths almost cross, but not yet. The narrator's voice, steady and haunting. Some meetings are chance. Some are fate. But when the past collides with the present, the heart must decide what it fears most: loneliness or love. The music shifts. The piano now mixes with a low drum like a heartbeat under pressure. Cut to Vivian, standing under bright stage lights at a charity gala. She speaks passionately about giving women the power to write their own stories. Applause fills the hall. But in the back of the room, Edward watches, silent. His figure is barely visible, but his presence changes the air. The camera zooms on Vivian's hand, gripping the microphone a little tighter. She feels it. She knows he's there. The applause fades, replaced by silence. Her lips move, but the sound disappears. Instead, the narrator continues, "She built her own kingdom. But the ghosts of love never die." Quick flashes, Vivian, alone in her dressing room, removing her earrings with trembling hands. Edward walking through an empty city street. His reflection in a shop window showing a younger version of himself, then vanishing. A white limousine door slamming shut. A single red rose falling onto a marble floor. The strings grow sharper. It's almost dangerous. The narrator whispers, he gave her freedom, but lost her heart. Now, he fights for one last chance. Cut to Edward in a storm, his hand reaching for a phone, hesitating, then dropping it. Cut to Vivian on a balcony. Watching the city lights with tears in her eyes, she refuses to let fall. Then a flash of confrontation. Vivian's voice, sharp, trembling with anger. "You think you can just walk back into my life? After all these years?" Edward's shadow replies, low and steady, "I never left." The music crashes. A fast montage, Edward running through pouring rain. Vivian slamming a door shut, but then leaning against it, breathless. A black car chasing through city streets. A pair of hands locking together, then pulling apart. Vivian's scarf flying through the air as if torn away by the wind. The tension builds. The drums pound like a racing heart. The narrator urgent now. This is not about rescue. Not about wealth. Not about a dream. This is about two lives on the edge of time, and the risk of losing everything. Cut to Edward. Finally stepping into the light, his face still unseen. But his voice breaking, "I can't let her slip away again." The screen explodes with light city skylines. Limousine headlights, flashes of cameras, the roar of an orchestra at full force, then dash silence. One image remains, Vivian standing in the rain. Her scarf gone, her hands bare, staring at something, or someone. Just beyond the frame, fade to black. The screen bursts open with a rush of sound, an orchestra climbing higher and higher, strings and drums thundering together. The city lights blur into streaks of gold and red, as if time itself is racing forward. Then slow motion. Vivian steps into the street. Her red scarf twists wildly in the stormy wind, glowing like fire against the night. Edward appears on the other side, faceless, his silhouette pushing against the chaos around him. The space between them feels endless, like an ocean of time, regret, and hope. The narrator's voice rises. It's urgent but tender, when a fairy tale returns. It is no longer a dream. It is a fight for love, for forgiveness, for forever. The music erupts into a full orchestral storm. The trailer unleashes a rapid-fire sequence of moments, each one bigger, more powerful, more emotional than the last. Edward standing in the rain, reaching out a hand. Vivian turning, eyes wide, her breath caught in silence. A limousine door slamming, headlights exploding into the night. Vivian running through a hotel hallway, her heels echoing like thunder. Edward standing on a rooftop, the city sprawling behind him, his figure heavy with choice. Vivian collapsing into a chair, tears breaking free as she clutches an old photograph. A single rose falling into water, petals scattering. The narrator's voice cuts through the storm. Love never dies. It only waits for the courage to begin again. Suddenly, the screen turns black. Silence. Just a single sound, Vivian's laughter, soft and broken, echoing like a memory. Then light breaks through. We see her walking slowly toward Edward. His hand reaches out. Her scarf drifts in the air between them, a bridge of red against the dark. The music swells, one final rise of strings and drums. The narrator whispers, almost like a secret. This time, the ending is theirs too, right? The screen cuts sharply to black. Golden letters fade in, glowing like fire. Pretty woman to 2025 underneath. A single line appears. Love never ages. The orchestra holds one last note, then silence. And finally, a whisper. Coming soon. The screen fades out completely.